Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to change our dynamic array to a generic dynamic array. So in the previous video, we saw how to implement our own dynamic array using the uh, static array or fixed size array. So in this video, if you guys haven't watched the previous video, I really recommend you guys watch the previous video, then watch this video. So what basically the generic means, the generic is basically a feature that allows us to define type safe data structures without committing to actual data type. So right now, our dynamic array is committed only to integer type. We can only store integer values. We cannot store different values in our array. But let me show you the built-in dynamic array in C Sharp, which is called list. List is a generic data structure. We can see inside this angular brackets, we can pass the type of value we want to store in our collection. Say I want to create an array of integer type. So inside this angular brackets, we can pass integer. But if I want to store only string values, I can do that using only one class name. I can define different type of dynamic arrays. Say if I want to store floating point numbers, I can do that by passing floating point inside the square this angular brackets. But it is not the case with our dynamic array. Our dynamic array accepts only integer values because we have defined an array of integer. So whatever to change our this dynamic array to a generic dynamic array, so that we are not specific to a particular data type, we can add those angular brackets to our class. Basically, we can make a class a generic class, we can make a method a generic method, or a field a generic method, so that user can decide whatever data type they want to store in the fields, or pass in the method or the class. Okay, this allows us for code reusability for different data types. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new class, add new item or new class. Let me call it generic dynamic array. So to make our dynamic array a generic dynamic array, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all the codes we have written, and I'm going to change it to make it a generic. Copy and paste it inside our this class. To make our class a generic class, what we are going to do, we will after the class name, we will provide an angular bracket, then we will pass t or whatever name we want. But the convention is to use t. Whatever the user passes inside this angular bracket, this t is going to be replaced with that data type. Say I want to define a list of integer, so I pass int here. So in the class definition, this int will be replaced with t. So we are going to use t also, or whatever name we want to use. So then instead of defining an integer array, we are going to define an array of type t. So if the user passes a string, so it's going to be an array of a string. If the user passes a floating point, so this is going to be an array of floating point. So capacity is gonna remain the same, since capacity represents integer. So I'm gonna copy the class name and change the constructor name as well. So size also remains integer. So instead of initializing our array with integer, so this time we are going to initialize it with type t. Then this array name constructor should change also. So it takes an integer capacity equal to capacity. Instead of initializing our array with integer type, we are going to initialize it with type t. Size is going to be 0. At this time, instead of accepting an integer type, we are going to accept a type t. So if size equal to capacity, then call grow size equal to array of size equal to item. Good. Insert at index. Okay. Item is going to be of type t. Index is going to be type integer. Okay. We check the index location. We call the grow. This is get item at index. Okay, it takes an index location. It doesn't return integer. It's going to return an item of type t. Then for search, so we cannot use the equality sign to compare two generic types. Instead, in C sharp, the C sharp system.collection.generic namespace provide a class called equality comparer. Through that we can compare two values of generic type. So I'm going to define an object of the equality comparer class. So equality comparer. So this is going to be of type T, a capital T. Let's call it comparer equal to equality comparer dot default. If we hover our mouse here, it says return a default equality comparer for the type specified by the generic argument. So instead of equality sign, I'm going to use this comparer object dot it has an equal signs equals, then we pass the two items. So I want to compare item with array of I. So if I pass it here, then return 0. um, so we override the class type T or equals. Okay, so here we have to type integer type to T since we are comparing generic types. So this way we can compare the two generic values. Then remove from index and okay, good, void. So we cannot set it to 0 anymore. Size minus minus and shrink. Remove from index, remove item. So this is again going to be type T, not integer anymore. So here we are going to use the if comparer dot equals item and array of I. Then we are going to remove at index I. Then inside the grow function, capacity 2 and int, it's not going to be int anymore, it's going to be T of type T. This is also going to be array of type T. Okay, new array. In the shrink also, this is not going to be of type integer anymore. Type T, perfect. I think the rest of the function should be good. So let's check this class and instead of let me check it with integer values. So my generic, the name of the class is uh, generic dynamic array. I'm gonna define generic dynamic array of type integer. Let's call it DA equal to new generic dynamic array, not dynamic array because we're gonna call it DA. Let's run our code. Cool. Okay, it works. Capacity is 5, size is 3. Um, okay, because we have removed 3 items here. 2, 3, 4. Okay, works. Let me remove these lines of codes. Run it again. Capacity is 10, size is 6. We have enter 6 numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. It works with integer values. Let us define a generic array of type string or character so that we can store character values. To do that, I'm gonna define a generic dynamic array. This time let's pass character. Let's call it DA equal to new generic array of characters. So if I add DA dot add, let me add, say I want to add a, not a string, add a. If we print that, okay, capacity is 5, size is 1, not empty, and we have only one item here, one is printed. Let's add a couple more letters here. We gotta put, I'm gonna add B, a C, a D. Let's add E here. If I run it, awesome. So size equal to capacity, it's full. We have A, B, C, D. Let's add one more character. Let's see if it is going to grow. Let's add F here. The capacity should grow. Yeah, the capacity grow up to 10, and we have A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, let's define a generic dynamic array of type integer. Let's try to store floating point or string values. So this time I'm going to store integer values, dynamic array, not integer, sorry, string values. DA equal to new generic dynamic array of string. So da dot add, let's add it like code weight cougar. uh, okay, size is 3, capacity is 4. We have code with of weight and cougar, code with cougar. Or let's, if I want to say da dot add insert at index, say I want to insert at index 1. I want to insert subscribe, then I want to insert it at index 1. Okay, 5, code subscribe wait cougar. So this way we can change our dynamic array to a generic dynamic array, so that we can work with any data type we want by passing our desired data type inside this angular brackets. Thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.